And we are live. Uh, First off, I want to apologize to everybody who has been sitting here waiting. There was a slight mistake made. I could have sworn I had clicked 4 o'clock. Apparently, StreamYard set it for 3 o'clock, so YouTube was saying that my stream started an hour before it really did, and I apologize. In the future, I will be double checking that as soon as it's actually created. I'll be going in to double check the time and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Oh, yeah, don't worry though, Rena. You can't beat yourself up. These things just happen, and we understand.
Next, I want to thank Lady R for joining me for a second time. This is awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
And I am actually really excited to see what kind of questions you have for me. So,
Yeah, sure. I hope that some of these aren't repetitive ones that you've had before. I haven't been able to
even
watch
if they are,
every
there might
single
be
stream.
new people watching, or people might have forgotten a previous answer. So it's always great to have refresher questions.
Sure, no problem. So, I guess the first question I guess I can ask you, Rena, is what got you into the hobby in the first place?
What got me into the hobby in the first place? Well, I've my boyfriend's picking on me.
Oh no, it's fine. No worries.
I might have to give him a hard time later. Just
Oh yeah,
beat him up or
probably.
something. I don't know. um, Sorry, he was distracting me. No, what got me into the hobby is growing up, I had always liked the idea of, fish tanks and everything.
Hmm.
I'm probably one of the few people that loves goldfish.
Oh
So,
yes. Oh no, I love goldfish. They're easily
um,
a favorite of mine. I know Steven will digress. He's in chat right now, but I love my goldfish when I've had them. Blackmores in particular are my favorite. So I
my
identify with that.
8-year-old daughter, when we first set up our tanks, we had a total of 3 fancy goldfish.
Oh
I
nice.
had a calico fancy tail. Um,
Very nice. Calicos are beautiful.
yeah, I had a calico twin tail fancy goldfish. My daughter had a blackmore as
Hmm.
her very first fish.
Hmm.
And then my son he actually picked out a Ryukin.
Ooh, very nice. Yeah, Ryukins are very beautiful.
Um, my daughter named her goldfish Butterfly.
Oh, that's cute.
The kids named my calico one Love.
Oh.
And my son, he was so excited to have his own fish in the tank. He decided to name his fish Wow.
Oh. He's being creative with his names. I think that
Yep.
that's sweet.
And then unfortunately all 3 goldfish, mine got sick. I was never able to figure out what caused her to get sick.
Mhm.
Um and then she passed away, and then like the next day the other 2 were gone, and it's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I know
And then I
sometimes
had
those
to deal
chain
with the
reactions
kids.
happen.
Then I
Yeah.
had to deal with telling the kids that their fish had died, and the
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah. It's never fun. It's never fun, especially for the kids.
Yeah, and then um ended up getting my daughter a 10-gallon, and she had her mollies, which she lucked out. Petco had this guy come in and drop off like 800 molly fry.
Wow, that's a lot of fry, but they do produce a lot.
Yeah, so they just put them in the adoption tank and adopted them out at $0.25 a piece, which, okay, that's a couple bucks for a handful of fish. Whatever. My daughter gets to have the fun of raising up baby fish to adult fish to, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she
that's a
loved
very
it.
rewarding process.
When we went in, she decided she wanted the baby fish. And the manager on duty gave my daughter the last 7 fry for the price of 1. She got 7
Wow.
mollies for $0.25.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then I had guppies, and my son had picked. Well, he helped pick out the guppies, but he wanted a second fish in there, and he had picked a little green pea puffer because we had
Oh,
gotten
yeah.
plants that were like infested with snails, and suddenly the tank was infested with snails. Like there were snails everywhere. It was like
Mm,
speckled glass everywhere. Like if you do like the run your finger across a paintbrush and you get the paint speckles on the canvas.
yes.
The entire tank was like that, but it was every speck was a snail.
Oh, goodness. Wow, that is a lot to take in. Yeah, I can see why you were considering the pea puffer.
So he picked out the pea puffer, and the puffer ate every single snail in the tank.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they're pretty voracious. They're cute little guys, though, but they are
Like,
merciless.
we unfortunately only had the puffer for like a week.
Mm,
It was apparently a bad batch that the local store had gotten, and we were not
yeah.
the only one who lost the puffer like almost instantly after getting it.
Uh,
But not only did the puffer eliminate all snails that were in the tank, but he had the cutest name ever.
and what was his name?
My son named him Wow Junior.
That is adorable. What a cutie.
And then when we lost the puffer, my son just decided that he would share the guppies with mommy, and they were blue colored guppies, so he liked them anyway,
Oh,
which was a
sure.
good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I
Yeah.
like the idea that, not only did, you have a natural inclination towards fish keeping yourself, but you've kind of instilled that in your kids. And
Oh yeah.
I think that's a great, facet in order to, promote the hobby further. We do need to get young people involved and reach out to a myriad of, different
Oh
people.
yeah.
And I think that that's very admirable of you to do that.
Yeah, when we first started keeping fish, what it was I had our first original tank was this was back in 2019, the summer of 2019, right at the end where everybody's moving right before the snow falls, doing
Yeah.
their last minute cleaning before the snow falls. I found a 30-gallon hex tank
Mm,
sitting outside of a dumpster across the street from the apartment I was living in.
wow.
And at first glance, and I took it home, did the whole, fill it with water, let it sit long enough to see if there were leaks or cracks or anything.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing. It looked like a perfect tank. Like someone was moving and they decided not to take the tank with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that does
So
happen.
so the tank sat in the garage through the winter. Then the following spring, I brought it in the house, washed it up, did the water test again just to make sure before I set it up. And then I started watching a whole bunch of fish videos. And the first channel on YouTube that I found was Corey with Aquarium Co-op.
Oh yeah, Corey kind of, facilitated a lot of us, I think,
Yeah.
not only to get either back into fish keeping, but also to
Uh,
look at fish keeping from a different perspective.
and he had, goldfish related videos that really helped me out because I knew that first tank, first fish, I want goldfish because I know they'll be able to handle the mistakes of a beginner.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, they do have
And
some hardiness to them. Yes.
so, like February, March, April, May of 2020, I'm watching the streams and then hold on. Ugh. Ugh. Seasonal allergies. I hate the runny nose. Ugh.
Oh, I know they're the worst. I can attest to
But
that.
I was watching his stream, and this was back when he was doing his live streams on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I was watching him, and then I just kind of followed the chain from him, and that's how I found Bob Kaler with Kaler's Aquatics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found KG Tropicals, and then James and Ed with Fish Room Fever and Chattanooga Ed.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
ever since, I just kind of followed the chain and I bounced around and I slowly started finding everybody else. Rico and is it Steven who's in Australia?
Mark is in Australia and Craig is
Mark.
in Australia.
Okay. I can't remember who it was I found first. All I know is I was watching a stream and he was saying that he was in Australia, and it's like, oh god, to live in Australia.
And I think
it would be fun, but at the same time, there's parts of Australia that would be scary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
no offense to anybody currently watching who lives in Australia, but between the snakes, the spiders, and the paralysis ticks, you can keep them. I don't want them.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And I only know about those because of Bondi Vet.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
But no, and actually watching Bondi Vet and seeing how bad those paralysis ticks affect pets, it's like, oh my god, I'm actually kind of glad I don't live in Australia because that would be scary as hell to find one of those on your pet and suddenly having to rush them to the ER to get the medicine to try fight it and save them, and it's like, oh my god. But no, I've been watching everybody's streams as often as I can, and I just ended up every Thursday I was following the chain, and then Mondays I ended up finding Big J with his water changes in the morning on Mondays. But yeah, I've just been slowly finding everybody's channels, and as I find them and start watching videos, I make sure to hit that subscribe button because hey, I'm learning from other people, and this is an awesome community, you know.
Yeah, I
You
know. I
start
agree.
talking to anybody in this group and suddenly you have a million new friends basically,
Yeah.
because nobody here will give you the hate talk that most people give you when it comes to fish keeping. Everybody here is all, hey, no, I made that mistake too. Here's how you fix it, you know.
Exactly. I
And
think
if
that
I
there's
can't tell you how to fix it, this person or this person or this person can. And if they can't, they'll tell you who to go to. It's like
right.
a major support system. And that's what we need more of.
I agree. I agree 100% with you on that.
All right.
So, I guess another question that I would be wanting to ask you is that if you had no limitations with funds or you were able to acquire the materials that you needed, without any sort of issue, would there be a particular fish or a particular size of tank that you would like to have one day, like your dream scenario?
Dream scenario would probably be a 150-gallon reef tank with a
Mm,
whole bunch of saltwater fish.
very nice. Very nice.
Because coral is amazing, and there's so many different community fish that you could find for a reef tank. And it's like, if I could have my dream tank, no limitations, no restrictions, just go pick out what I want and not have to worry about a price tag,
Hmm.
that's what I would want. And the house I'm currently in, it would be set up in the basement on the cement floor where it's safe. You know, if
Hmm.
anything breaks, it's easy cleanup because there's drains down there. But yeah, 150-gallon reef tank
Very nice. Very nice. You
with
have excellent taste.
plants, whatever that it would need to make it like an actual slice of the ocean was just plopped in my house.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's a great notion. Okay, I guess I can ask you because you are actively involved in the community. What excites you the most about if it's not the community, what is it that excites you the most about the fish keeping hobby in general? Do you think that maybe it's just the direction that the industry is going, the different kinds of fish that are being offered? What is it that really excites you within the industry?
The bit about fish keeping that excites me the most is finding other people like us and being able to express a love for fish that non-fish keepers, they'll pretend like they understand, but when you start talking about fish tanks and what you have and everything, you can tell who the real fish keepers are because they'll instantly be right there with you talking about what they have and what their dreams are and what they have their tanks set up like. And it's like it gets really exciting meeting new people and being able to share an interest, like how anime fans can talk to other anime fans about
Hmm.
anything anime related and they both instantly know what they're talking about.
Exactly. I agree with
Or
you.
D&D people have their group and the gamers have their video games. Us,
Mhm.
we have our tanks, and honestly, you just sit if you're having a stressful day, you can just sit down, watch your fish, and just suddenly the stress of the day is gone.
Oh, I
You know,
agree with you. It's very therapeutic, and I find myself just sometimes doing exactly that when I'm very stressed. I
yeah,
will just want to, retreat to my tanks and just kind of immerse myself into the ecosystem that is naturally provided. So I
yeah,
can I can attest to all of those points that you're making.
yeah. I gotta
Okay.
get to the storage unit and grab my 29 gallon and my daughter's 10 gallon and get them set back up. And then I also have to get to the store and buy a 10 gallon for my son because he keeps begging me to get him his own tank so that the three of us can each have our own tank. Like, he has his tank, Sissy has her tank, Mommy has her tank.
Right, right. Well, and I think that kind of gives the kids not only, an identity that they're able to, have their own specified tank, but they also are able to learn, the responsibility and the upkeep that is required. And the fact that they already have a
Exactly.
natural inclination for that, I think that's very promising. So I
Yeah,
think you're
and
starting off with something great.
I'm really proud of my daughter. I will say that. She is 8 years old,
Hmm.
and when she got her mollies, whenever it would be water change day, she
Hmm.
refused to stay out of the way and just let Mommy do it. No, she wanted to be right there helping change the water, helping clean the tank. I showed her how to carefully gravel vac her tank, and she insisted and would stand there begging me to teach her how to take care of her own tank.
Yeah.
And this is an 8-year-old asking for this.
Well, that's good. That's good. And sometimes, they
you
do
know,
start out young. I mean, I can identify with her at that age when I was young. I was
most
outstanding all
8-year-olds,
the time.
a lot of 8-year-olds you see, they'll have a tank, but oh, Mommy and Daddy take care of it. I just stare at the
Mhm.
fish.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
her, that's my tank and I do the maintenance for it. And
Mhm.
I'm so proud of her for that.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. I think that's very important. I think that that's great that she just already has that natural inclination to be not only responsible but be invested in what happens to, her fish. So many kids, like you're saying, they see it as an
And
ornament, they see it as a novelty.
my son, he's 6 now, he'll be 7 in July, but when he was 5, between 5 and 6
Mhm.
that year, um, before we had to tear the tanks down, he would beg to be the one to feed the fish. He wanted to
Mhm.
help take care of the fish too. A little
Mhm.
5-year-old boy would rather help take care of a glass box with fish in it
Mhm.
rather than go play with his toys or go outside. No, if it was time to take care of the tanks, he was right there begging to help,
That's
which is
great.
awesome.
No, I thoroughly applaud that. And to, give your kids the opportunity to do that. I think that you're really building a really nice foundation for them about responsibility, accountability, and being aware of how delicate and
Okay.
and serene nature is.
Bunny Viper said something that kind of has me confused. That's
Okay.
fine just as long as Mama doesn't have MTS.
I guess what she means is that if you have multiple tank syndrome, it may rub off on the kids, and then the kids
Oh,
themselves will then also want multiple tanks as well.
no. We are. The landlord has agreed to let us have our 3 tanks, but that
Hmm.
is it. We are not allowed to have anything else, and there cannot be anything larger than my 29 gallon.
Well, a 29 is still a reasonable enough size, and considering that you're
Yeah.
renting, I think that that's actually very reasonable for
Yeah.
him to allow
I
that.
and I had asked the question, now can we have our fish tanks? And the landlord had looked at me like I was insane, like, oh my God, this person is going to have like this monster tank that they're going to want in the house. And it's like, no, we have 129 and it would be 2 10 gallons for a total of
Hmm.
49 50 gallons worth
Right.
of tank, and I would be putting them downstairs in the basement on the cement floor. And she said,
Right. Right.
those 3
Oh, yeah,
tanks,
that's
that's
relatively
fine,
low
but
risk.
nothing more.
Yeah.
So, which is
Mark poses
perfectly
a
fine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mark poses an interesting question, though. Are outdoor ponds an option for you? Like if you were to have a large tote where you could put like white cloud minnows in. Sorry, my dog's barking.
Oh,
Cosmo,
you're fine. I have a dog too.
pause. Come on, you're
But
okay.
if I was to do an outdoor pond, it would have to be in a tub on the deck only. And the same thing sadly has to go with anything I want to have that's garden related. It has to be in a pot on the deck.
Oh.
If I dig anywhere in the grass to put anything,
Mm-hmm.
before I am allowed to move out, I have to pay the full cost out of pocket to replace any grass that I dig up.
Oh, wow.
Which,
Yeah.
if you think about it, it makes sense. You know, I'm renting, I don't own the property. If I destroy the lawn, I have to pay to fix the lawn.
Sure. Sure. No, there's definitely a give and take system for that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me throw you a controversial question, and I think most people in chat will either probably be neutral to it or they will have, an opinion either or. So let's see how this goes. Glowfish. Do you think that they are good for the industry, or do you think they are a negative for the industry?
If the right people get them, they're a good thing, but the way they're presented, I feel like they're not a good thing because it's mostly, I feel like glowfish exists mostly because it gets any little kid that sees that fish swimming in a tank under a black light just to make
Mm-hmm.
it glow.
Yeah.
It makes little kids go, Mommy, Mommy, I want that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how you get the bad fish keepers who are spending all this money on these expensive fish and then they don't take care of them properly and then they die a week later and they have to spend even more money and then it
Yeah.
causes a huge fight like my fish keep dying, this is a bad place to buy them, don't go here, and then you get the negative reviews on the stores and it's
Mm-hmm.
like no, it's not bad fish at bad stores, it's wrong people getting the fish.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I
If you're
agree.
going to get, it's not just goldfish, it's any fish, even a simple goldfish. Do
Oh
what I
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Do the research. Constantly do research, even after you get the fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Continue keeping up the knowledge and always do research because something might change in the tank. And if you don't know how to take care of it beforehand, then you'll just end up spending a whole bunch of money on stuff that everybody says will work, but it won't work for you because each individual tank for each individual person will always be different, always have
Mm-hmm.
different problems, will always resolve differently when you go to fix it. Do
Yes.
the research on the fish, find out how you're supposed to take care of it to make it live as long as possible, then go get the fish. And
Mm-hmm.
the biggest issue I feel in the fish hobby is not having the proper size tank.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And
Because,
it
I
and it
mean,
doesn't help when they market it a particular way.
you, my local fish store, the new owners have never seen how big tiger barbs and clown loaches can get. So what
Wow.
I did is I went to Google Images and I pulled up I was actually kind of lucky on this, but someone had taken a screenshot of one of Corey's streams
Mm-hmm.
of when his big 800-gallon tank had the tiger barbs and clown loaches in it.
Yes. Yes, I remember that.
And they had taken a screenshot of those fish, and it was on Google.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled that up and I showed the new owners, and they said, "That's a huge fish. What is that?" And I pointed to their tank and I said, "These ones are those teeny tiny tiger barbs you have. And these ones here on the bottom are those teeny tiny clown loaches you have. These fish are sitting in an 800-gallon aquarium." And it just blew their mind. They had never seen a fish that big. And those fish looked like they would take up like probably 3 of their 55-gallon tanks that they use in the front shop area for displaying all of their plants that they get in.
Yeah.
One of those clown loaches looked like it would fill an entire 55-gallon tank, and they couldn't believe how big they were. And I'm like, yeah, I've seen how big these fish can get when they have the room to grow.
Right, and the optimal growing conditions that will allow it, not only
Exactly.
tank size, but also the proper nutrition, water parameters, etc.
And
Yeah.
someone like Corey from Aquarium Co-op will be able to give them that, so you see the result of proper fish keeping.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because sometimes people need a visual aid.
Exactly. And there was actually someone there asking, well, how big do these things get if just left to grow? And I showed them my phone too, and I said, these fish are in an 800-gallon tank. And they started out as that tiny thing that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw that, and they're like, that
Right.
is not gonna fit in a 10-gallon. And I'm like, no, it's not. Tiger barbs and clown loaches are not something to have
No,
in a 10
not if
gallon.
you want it to live. No,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, if all you have is a 10-gallon, go for the mollies or the platies or something that will stay small.
Right,
You know,
exactly. Something that's not going to exceed more than like 2 inches or so.
yeah,
3 inches
because
if you really want to push it.
yeah, because a lot of people will do the whole, oh, I'll just get a bigger tank once it grows out of the one it's in, but then they never get that bigger tank because by the time they need to get the bigger tank, oh, I don't want to spend that price tag.
Yeah,
If you don't want to
exactly.
spend that price tag in the first place, don't get the fish that needs that price tag for a
Well,
tank.
right. Oh, no, I agree with you 100%. It has to correspond with that. Okay, Bunny asks, don't mollies and platies reach 3 to 4 inches? I think it depends on the variation of the platy in that case, Bunny. But I do know that mollies can sometimes get to be about 4 inches. I think it depends on the variety that you've got. I believe
Yeah.
that the balloon mollies generally more weight. They're going to have a little bit more length on them as well.
I don't like the look of balloon mollies.
It's one of those controversial things. I think it's like people with brachycephalic breeds in dogs, like pugs and bulldogs and things. I think
Yeah,
that
the
it's
smushed
one of those
face.
weird, yeah, it's weird with those genetic variables.
Yeah, but no, for me, balloon mollies, and I will admit that they are pretty, but pearl scale goldfish, they just,
Hmm.
no, I don't. They're pretty, but when they get to be the full roundness that they grow to, it's like, well, it's not as pretty. Now it's like, oh my god, you look at it and you think it's about to pop.
Right.
Which with the balloon mollies, it's probably how they got their name, is they look like a inflated balloon.
Right. And, Coro makes a very interesting point here. He says that he would argue that balloon mollies and such are worse for the hobby than the genetically engineered glowfish. And I agree with that because, as
Yeah.
Mark was also stating, and similar to kind of what I was relaying about with the brachycephalic types of dogs that we have, or any sort of genetic modification that prevents an animal from thriving properly, form and function are more important than fashion statements or aesthetics.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get a fish just because of the looks. Go for something that'll actually, you know.
Hmm. No, I agree with you. If I can interject for just a second, I feel the same way when it comes to dogs because I'm a dog person, and there's a very famous veterinarian, Karen Overall, and she also stated the very same thing: to never ever get a dog based on the condition of what it looks like. She made the analogy that you wouldn't marry somebody based on their aesthetic. It's another thing for an animal that you're going to be taking care of for the rest of its life. And I believe the same thing applies to fish as well. If you're not
Yeah.
prepared for the actual upkeep that it requires and you're not aware of the genetic malformalities, don't invest in it because it's just going to be heartache.
Yeah. No, and with my dog, I've shown pictures in the
And he's a
Discord.
cutie. Yeah, he's a cutie.
And to be honest, my entire life, I have never seen myself owning a blue heeler.
Mhm. Yeah, I get it.
Whenever I've ever been asked, growing up my entire life, if I was ever asked, what kind of dog do you want if you could have one? And I would always say either a German Shepherd or a Husky.
Mhm. Those are very nice. Yes.
I would want a Siberian Husky because of how closely they resemble wolves
Yeah,
in
they are.
appearance,
Mhm.
and they can handle the cold climate that I live in. For
Right.
my
And like
part of the country, North
right.
Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, it's
Mhm.
a cold area in the winter.
Right.
And Huskies can handle that cold because they
Yes.
come from a cold climate.
Absolutely.
And my uncle used to raise and breed German Shepherds. So I
Very nice.
know from personal family experience what those dogs are like. And I
Yes,
would always
absolutely.
pick those two breeds.
Mhm. Yeah, those are always in my top
We
10 as
moved
well.
into this house in October, and very next month, November 3rd, my friend is asking me if I can watch her dog. And then next
Mhm.
thing I know, he's being just given to us. And suddenly I have a 3/4 blue heeler, 1/4 border collie. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, this is a gorgeous dog, and I've never seen myself owning one, but now that I have him, I can't get rid of him. Even if
Yeah,
I get evicted, I will live inside a car to keep the dog rather than go
totally.
to a shelter. I will not get rid of this dog.
No, I agree with you.
And
I'm the exact same way with mine.
and when I found out that his previous owner beat him just from how he reacts around men, it's like
Mhm.
this dog is traumatized, and the friend who gave him to me told me that if he's ever a bad dog, take a rolled up newspaper and smack him on the head with it.
Ugh, ugh, no,
That's
no, no, no. That's
just
not how you reprimand.
enforcing and worsening the trauma that he's been put through.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to make him hate me like he hated his previous owner.
Exactly. You're trying to gain trust and hopefully start a rehabilitation process. I know. I know exactly how that goes. It because I have rescue dogs myself, and
Yeah,
I have dogs that have been traumatized. I have in the past, I do in the present, and it takes a lot of effort. And yes, it's very frustrating. But if you exude that frustration back onto them, you're only going to allow them to go backwards to where they were, and they will
yeah,
never trust you. And it's just it's heart wrenching.
yeah. And in the time we've had him, he's actually gotten a lot better with my boyfriend.
That's so good to hear.
He rarely growls or barks at him now.
That's great.
And I've witnessed him go up to my boyfriend timidly, but he will go fully up to him and lick his hand and get pets and everything from my boyfriend, which is a huge achievement.
That's very awesome.
And we've
That's
only
very
had him
important.
since November.
Yeah, the fact that he's turned around that much and the fact that you've worked with him, I think, that
Yeah.
shows dedication to it and just, taking it slow. It's not going to change overnight. And,
The biggest
some
thing that
cases do different
helped,
things, but yeah, you do the best you can.
the biggest thing that helped is when we got new pillows, we put my boyfriend's old pillow that was soaked with his sweat and his scent in the
Hmm.
dog's kennel.
Yes, yes.
Because my boyfriend has a job where he's gone 3-4 days out of the week. So he didn't have enough time to get used to his scent. So
Yeah,
we put the pillow in the kennel, and that helped so much. Okay,
yes.
I need to mute and check on the kids real quick.
Sure, no problem. And while Rena is gone, I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you again to everybody who has joined us. And happy to have you guys here. Before the stream ends, I may want to go ahead and just let you guys know that over on Fish Fam Link's YouTube page, they're going to have an aquarium haul and giveaway sponsored by Aquarium Co-op. It's a new thing that Annette and Jenna and Dee Dee have started. And so once this is over, if you'd like, go ahead and go on over there. And I will be joining you guys in chat myself. And I think Eric is going to be on there as a guest. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be on there as a guest. So feel free to check that out. And then after that, we will have Rico Stan. And of course, you will have me there as well. So hopefully, you will not be getting tired of my voice or my presence for that matter. And let me see here.
Okay,
I'm not
I
sure if
am
Mitch is going
back.
to be. Okay, sorry about that. I was just giving a little bit of promotional stuff for Rico, and also Fish Fam Link is going to have a stream right after us.
No, that's fine. It, tell them who's next. Got
Yes, yes,
to, give love to each other. You support me,
absolutely.
I support you thing. I have absolutely nothing against people promoting whoever is on after me. You
Right,
know,
right.
it,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think we all
like
need to
when
promote each
I
other.
first discovered this community. Like I said, winter of 2019, spring of 2020, following from Corey promoted to uh, Bob Kaler. Kaler's Aquatics promoted to KG Tropicals. John and Lisa sent everybody over to James with Fish Room Fever.
Absolutely,
Just keep the chain going. This stream is done,
absolutely.
but hey, these people are next. Go check them out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got to promote everybody as much as possible and just, spread the love, like you're saying. I agree
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at the time that we have left. I probably have enough time for a couple more questions.
All right.
I guess the next thing that I would go ahead and ask is, what are your current plans right now with your tanks? I know you said that you've got to set them up. You've got the three tanks,
Yeah.
the 210s and the 29. So, what are the future goals with that?
Um, I think my son has decided that he wants to have another goldfish for his tank. Which is cool. A single goldfish in a 10-gallon. That's like pretty much perfect for a 6-year-old.
Yeah, yeah,
My
and I think,
daughter, she wants mollies again. She
oh,
wants her
sure.
mollies again. And it worked out really well. She had a total of 7 in her little 10-gallon, and they they basically thrive in her tank.
Mm-hmm. Very
And
nice.
then
Very nice.
I was actually messaging Ed recently, and I've come to the decision that with my 29 gallon,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a pair of angels with guppies.
Okay. Okay.
The angels will eat the guppies and kind of help keep population maintained.
Right, because you do have to deal with the fact that the angels are a cichlid and they will be
Yep.
territorial, especially if you do a male-female pair.
Yep.
They
And
will
I
wanna,
will
nip
not
off
I
people.
will not be getting the angels until I can get a guaranteed pair, like a confirmed pair.
Mhm.
So my tank will probably just sit empty with the plants um until I can get the pair of angels. And then once I have those, then I'll be able to enjoy my tank the way I want to. But
Right.
that's what I've decided for when I set my tank back up. And I really need to get my tank set up
Mhm.
because I've kind of promised Tim with Crypt Keeper that as soon as I get my tank set up, he said he'd send me some plants. And I promised him I would save his box. I would tell him when to send it so that it would arrive and be here and able to be used as an unboxing live stream on
Very
a
nice.
Tuesday.
Very
I
nice.
and I can't wait to see what kind of plants he sends me because we've talked about it and I told him that I would love to have him as a guest. That way as I'm unboxing everything, he can give a tutorial to not only me but also the viewers that what this plant is, where it goes in the tank, how pretty it will be, and I really want to get that going. And with 3 tanks, whatever he sends, I know the kids are going to want to put some of the plants in their tanks too, and that's
Oh,
completely fine
sure.
with me. You know,
Oh, sure.
one
Yeah.
unboxing to plant 3 tanks, it'll be fun.
Right, right. No, I agree. I agree with that. And especially with your daughter wanting mollies, I find that with my mini mosh pit, I have a 20 long, and I have platies and guppies and live bearer type stuff in there as well. I find that a lot of plants and a lot of plant cover really help a lot to keep not only the population up, but improves oxygenation levels and the overall health of the fish.
Yeah, yeah. And I've wanted to do a planted tank for a while, but I can never get enough money together to get enough plants
Hmm.
to make it work. I'll have enough to get like 1 or 2 plants, and then by the time I have more money to get more plants, the ones I've already bought have died on me. And it's like,
Mm,
no. Now I have to start from square one all over again. And it's like,
yeah.
no.
Do you need to utilize any sort of fertilizers or any root
I'm
boosters?
I was actually going to be getting the fluval shrimp and plant pellet substrate,
Oh yeah, that's a good thing to start with. Yeah, absolutely.
and then getting like uh like the neutral natural coloration river rock pebbles to
Very nice.
gravel type stuff to put on top of the plant substrate, so you have the look of like a a dirted tank, but it's just plant substrate with a little bit of river stone on top to give the plants something to keep them rooted down, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you because I utilize Carib Sea Eco Complete in my tank, and I utilize a little bit of loose river gravel as well in mine. And I do believe that that conjunction does help keep not only the plants rooted, but it kind of keeps the substrate from decaying at a rapid rate as well. I think that would be very nice. And Coro suggested maybe in the interim while you're waiting for the angels, he's thinking maybe you should throw some cherry shrimp in there just for kicks.
Ooh. I did have cherry shrimp with the guppies, but I think the guppies ate the shrimp.
Yeah, they can be a bit picky at various things. What I
Yeah.
find that helps is if you have a lot of, like we were saying earlier, a lot of plant cover, I find, and some
Yeah, spots
rocks.
for them to hide. But no,
Mhm. Yeah, the coral full of it.
I had a handful, like 12 cherry shrimp,
Hmm.
and at least two of the shrimp that I had gotten them from the local shop as they were
Very
um,
nice.
uh, carrying eggs. So they would be having baby shrimp inside my tank at home, which would give me even more shrimp.
Yes.
No, it was like maybe 2 weeks, and suddenly there's one, maybe two red shrimp in the tank, and it's like, and a ton of guppies, and it's like, where's the rest of my shrimp?
Yeah, I know. I know.
And
I
so,
totally get that.
no, this time around, I'm going to put the plants in and get the plants, uh, 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 uh the words are failing me right now.
Oh, no,
Get
you're
the plants
fine.
established before
Yes.
I add fish to it, just to be on the safe side that no, these plants are not going to die on me. The fish are not going to destroy them. You
Right,
know,
right.
these
I find
plants
that that's
are
kind of
rooted and stuck and are thriving. Now I can put the fish in.
no, I think that that's definitely wise. I try to season my tank for quite a while before I add any sort of inhabitants. I'd usually start with
Yeah.
snails, something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say the word expendable, but something that could not be as drastic of a loss as opposed to fish or shrimp or something like that.
Yeah,
Then
it is
and then I
something
build
that's
from there.
something that you don't want to lose it, but at the same time, if it's lost, it's not as big of a deal.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And while you were on the topic of plants, and I understand, we all are under tough times and
Yeah,
such. And I know that Crypt offered you some plants as well. But if you are interested in some Salvinia minima and some duckweed as floaters, I have some extra, and I would be happy to send some to you.
I would definitely love them.
Awesome.
Um, I've before we had to take the tanks down, I had been trying to find floaters, and I was having absolutely no luck
Yeah.
or finding any floater plants of any kind. During the summer, I've I've been tempted to go to the zoo and be like, "Hey, once a week if you want, I'll come scrape the ponds in the enclosures. I'll get myself
Hmm.
a big fish net and I'll just come scrape a scoop out of the ponds because their ponds will be so thick with duckweed that the only spot that'll be clear is where the pumps are going to keep the water moving. But other than that, it's like an inch thick of just pure duckweed across the entire surface of the pond and the enclosure for the animals.
I know, and it just absorbs all the oxygen and nutrients out of the water, and it deprives them of that. So it's important to keep duckweed in check. Fortunately, my salvinia dictates it. The duckweed was just a secondary thing that came in, I think, on them at the time. And even though I've been regulating it pretty well, I know, I agree. You have to be very, very careful about that. But I'm happy
Yeah.
to send you a little bit because a little goes a long way, let me tell you. I got one tiny little patch from Roxanne and Brian from Peplin Creek Aquatics and
Okay.
Foxy's Fishes, and it went bananas in my tank. Now it's filling up both tanks to the point where I've got to keep pulling it out, and I've been sending it to people, and I'm going to eventually be able to sell it, hopefully on Vivi, if Vivi will allow me to open up a shop on their end. But for right now, I'm just trying to give it good homes because I don't like to throw away perfectly good plants.
No, definitely. I will happily take some.
Awesome. Then I will be sure to do that for you, hopefully sometime this coming week. Go ahead and, when you have a chance, just send me your address on Discord, and
Well,
I will let you know when I get that shipped.
how about we save the shipping the plants until
Mhm.
the tanks are set up for me to put the plants in it?
That'll be perfect. We can do that. That's no
That way
problem at
the
all.
plants aren't sitting somewhere and just dying on me.
And yes, Bunny, I have not forgotten you with plant giving. I have stuff for you as well. Believe me, that salvinia is not going anywhere. And I've got a couple other things as well. I'm trying to generate back my Egeria Najas. I think I might have some ready for picking again as well. I'm trying to let that
did,
recuperate.
did you see what Cora said? Cora was
Yes,
saying, "Don't do it. Don't fall for her
yes,
trap."
yes. I know, I know, I know. Yeah, and Betta, I've always wanted to try frog bit. So if you happen to know of a reliable source that has frog bit, I would love to have some frog bit just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I'd like to do red rooters as well because so far I've had good luck with my
I've
floaters.
I have been looking to try anything,
Mm-hmm.
duckweed just because of how available it is, but frogbit, waterlettuce, anything that floats to
Yes.
give something different in the tank. I've been wanting to give it a try. We've only got a few minutes left,
Yes.
so real quick, while everybody's still here, I kind of want to show off my resin stuff.
Okay, sounds good. I think that'll be a great place to wrap it up.
Yeah, and then I think the first two things I'm going to show off are my keychain and my necklace. This is my keychain I made. It's my lucky keychain. It's got a
Very
4-leaf
lovely.
clover in it.
Very lovely.
And then my necklace, I was silly and I went, we have one of those little color form brand on the go travel things of Monopoly, where the money is this tiny.
Yes.
So what I did is I made a Monopoly necklace.
Very nice. I like the innovation.
But I'm going to switch the camera around here to make it easier to show everything off. But we have, okay. I have a smudge on my camera. Okay. These are my keychain and my necklace. And then this case has all sorts of pins, earring hooks, and lobster clasps. clothespins, twine, the Monopoly money. This is a single chain for making a necklace. Haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that yet. Keychain rings. And then I have split rings. These are like mini key rings. I at first thought they were different sizes of jump rings, like bigger ones, but these are actual jump rings. And then I have this plier came from a jewelry making kit that I got at Walmart years ago. This is from a regular toolbox, but between the two pliers, I can separate jump rings and close them back up easy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got a set of those
And
myself.
then I have metallic string. This is jute cord. This is a silicone ice cube tray. I cut the bottom section off and stacked it so that when I put resin here, it can have the imprints here for like pretending to stack them. And this is what they turn out like. This is what the resin Legos look like.
That's very nice.
This one has a giant air bubble in it, so it doesn't work right.
Sure.
But this is how well they stack. It's not quite perfect, but it's cute.
Very cute.
And then I found a 4-pack of molds at Walmart. These two are just clear, nothing in them right now. But the square is that's actually a piece of bubble gum in it. I'm being silly and making a gum necklace.
Hey, I think it has a lot of character to it. I give you an A for the creativity behind it.
And then I have a box cutter here for when I pull the resin out of the molds, sometimes it'll have extra bits on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I use the razor blade to carefully just cut those off.
Oh yeah, that works.
And then this is everything I have made so far.
Very nice.
I have 2 pairs of earrings in here. And then I have a bunch of little random pendants. And these flowers and the leaves in here came from this thing that I found at Joann Fabrics.
Oh, cool.
And tab numbers 2 and 11 are the best tabs in this kit.
Very nice. That helps when you're able to find the equipment that works best for your project.
Yeah, and each tab has a total of 2. I've used 1 in my keychain, so I have 3 4-leaf clovers left to use, which is awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then this is the rest of my resin stuff. I use these are those little solo brand type shot glasses that you can get.
Oh yeah.
And I just use those for mixing the resin. These are 12 different color packets of glitter.
Very nice.
And then I got a 2-pack of these at the Dollar Tree. This one lost its cap, but I use this for mixing the resin.
Oh yeah, that
And then
works.
the pointy end mixes it, and the scraper end is for when I pour it in the molds. I can scrape the sides of the cup. And then if there's too much resin, I can level it out. Not sure what I'm going to use these little mini paint palettes for. I'm also not sure what I'm going to use the jars for. But I've got so many ideas. And then this is a nail file kit, like a little manicure set that was given to me. And I use that for like grinding and buffing out sharp edges on the resin.
I see.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that is all of my fun stuff. And then
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us all.
I keep them all in this tote bag I made.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was just a plain canvas bag that I took fabric markers to.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I like the idea of innovating something that would otherwise
Yeah,
be plain. And you can do a lot with those canvas bags.
exactly. And when you get the right fabric stuff to put designs onto it, whether it's paints, markers, whatever, if it's specifically designed to go on fabric, you can do so much customizing.
Absolutely.
But my time is up, so we're gonna end it here. Thank you again for joining me. And
Absolutely. All happy to be here.
we will see everybody next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.